Record. Hey.
Hey, buddy.
It's early.
It is early.
Holy shit.
It's throwing me off a little bit.
I know, right? How you been?
I'm all right.
It's been a long week. I missed you.
Yeah, it has been a long week. It's been a crazy week.
Yeah.
A lot of shit happening this week.
Yeah. Well, I brought something different, going back to the Irish roots today. So I've been wanting to try this. It's for the price point, doesn't look bad, and I figure it can't be any worse than the goddamn Irish Conor McGregor bullshit. So today we were drinking the Sexton single malt Irish whiskey distilled in fucking copper pots. It's all written sideways, so I'm not even going to try. But yeah, I'm going to pour a little bit of magic here. So already strike one against the bottle for not being an easy pour. Yeah. So that's a heavy pour, my friend.
Cheers. It's not bad.
No,
That is not bad.
it's a hell of a lot better than that other shit. But I figured I've subjected you to bourbons enough that it was time to, because we both prefer the Irish. But anyway,
Right.
we got special guests today. I'm really fucking excited about this episode. And today with us we have the East Tennessee Ghost Seekers. How you guys doing?
Doing great, brother.
Awesome.
I said that correct, right? I didn't fuck up the name right off the bat.
You got it perfect, brother.
All
You got it
right.
perfect.
So we have what? Steven, and Andrea, right?
Yes.
Did I
That's
say
correct.
Andrea
That's
right? Because
us.
some people will say it's Andrea.
Or Andrea.
Nope.
Yeah.
Straight up Andrea.
All right.
No,
Straight up Andrea.
she's only Andrea when she's about 3 glasses in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She starts
then she's
correcting people.
Andrea.
It's Andrea,
Yeah.
bitches.
So I appreciate you guys taking time, because I know that this is, and maybe I'm wrong, but I would assume this would be a busier time for you guys than the rest of the year.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's
Definitely.
extremely busy right now. Yeah.
Because you guys got some stuff going on tonight as well, correct?
Yeah. Tonight we'll be at Screamville Haunted Attraction in Coreyton, Tennessee. It's just your normal haunted house event for the
On
Halloween season.
steroids.
On steroids.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's not much normal about it.
No. So if you got some free time on Fridays or Saturdays for the next,
I think 3 weeks. I think
yeah,
the first weekend in October is their last weekend.
You mean
Right.
November?
Yeah, November, yes.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
first weekend in November will be their last weekend.
Okay.
But yeah,
Gotcha.
it's set up in a cornfield. They've got buildings built all through it. It's your cornfield on steroids. I mean,
Nice.
The scariest one I've ever been through.
Okay.
It was rated Tennessee's top haunted attraction last year.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
I'll
nice.
have to take
Badass.
Amanda
Badass.
loves haunted. Well, I say that. My wife loves that shit, but she's never been to a real haunted house ever.
Really? No.
We went last year because I was going to take the kids to their first one, but then my son, who was 9 at the time, like cried and just couldn't. And I couldn't make him. I didn't want to traumatize him. He's a much more sensitive soul than my daughter's. Basically, a tiny serial killer.
You
So,
got to tell him he'll be better.
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
but this year was going to be the year, but then they decided to stay home for Halloween because we're not going trick or treating. So
Why not?
I don't know my neighborhood well enough. We hadn't been there very long, and
Come to my neighborhood.
yeah, that's true. But that's so much effort.
All right.
Yeah. So anyway, they have a Halloween party, and so they're going to stay for that, which is actually gives me an extra weekend with no fucking kids.
Nice.
So I'm
There
pretty
you go.
excited about that. But
There you go.
yeah. So
So,
oh, go
Real
ahead.
quick before you guys go, me and Andrea, we came prepared to drink with you guys.
Oh, right on,
Nice.
right on.
And
As did I.
So I'm gonna go ahead and
Oh,
crack mine
Pepsi.
open.
Well, that's all the time we
Mine's
got
all right.
tonight, guys.
So
Nice.
cheers to you guys.
Yeah, cheers to
Yeah,
you guys,
cheers.
man.
Happy Halloween.
So,
Yeah.
so what are you guys sipping on? We got the Pepsi there, which is always a win.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have the Lining Kugel's Cranberry Ginger Shandy,
Oh, okay.
and
I
it's
had that one.
actually pretty tasty. It's actually
Okay.
pretty tasty.
I have a Smirnoff Seltzer 8% spiked blackberry and snuggled in an Elkmont Exchange koozie.
And any
nice.
any baseline respect I just had is just gone. It's just fucking gone.
Like seltzer.
I'm low carbing it, and I've been
Ah.
doing that for years. And this allows me a lot of alcohol with not a lot of carbs.
All right.
Right.
Well, that works.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
suppose.
It's at least it's not a White Claw.
That's true. No,
Yeah.
no, I don't do the White Claws.
No,
But,
no, she usually has one of these during our podcast. And
Okay.
Nice.
Which is
by the end of the
fantastic, by the
show-
way.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, and like when you sent me the request to be on B3F, I was like, well, we got to check these guys out,
Right.
And so me and Andrea, we sitting there and listening. We laughed our ass off. Yeah,
Good.
so you
Good
guys,
stuff.
you guys are great.
That makes
you
two
guys are
of you.
great.
No, it's awesome. And same, like I checked you guys out. I didn't realize you had a podcast initially. I was telling him we had a guest
Right.
cancel out, and I was like, well, shit, it's that time of year. It's short notice, but it'd be awesome to get some paranormal investigators on.
Yeah.
And so reached out to you guys, so it worked out really well that you guys could come on, and you guys do your podcast live, correct? Through Podbean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through Podbean. Yeah. We record when it's not high school football season. We record live every Friday night.
Okay.
During high school football season, it's Thursday nights because we have a senior that plays football for Halls High School.
Nice.
Okay.
And we're fellow Kindred Road brothers and sisters. You guys got the road set up there as well.
Absolutely.
So it's been the greatest thing that
Yes.
we've purchased for this.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
been game changing.
Oh yeah,
Hands down.
hands down. Yeah, I mean, we do everything through this thing. I have all of our bumpers in it. I have stupid sound effects.
Yeah.
Our intro, outro, everything in there. It's set. Before we got this, we were using a piece of shit Behringer.
We were doing the
served its
same.
purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it served its purpose. We were using the Behringer and some cheap ass microphones from Amazon, and it worked. Yeah.
Yep.
We had the what was it, the 1204 USB.
Okay.
And like I said, it worked. It did its job.
Yeah.
But since getting this, oh my God, it's a game changer.
Yeah, and so much easier to mix. Like if anything you do in post, it's so much cleaner, especially with the multi-track out and whatever.
Yeah. Oh God. The multi-track has made life so much simpler.
Yeah. I'm a big audio or gear nerd, so I was super stoked.
That's our guru.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like on for our cameras that we use in the field, when we're investigating, I used the Rode Video Mic Pro Plus.
Okay. Nice.
And it does a great job picking up EVPs and our audio when we're talking. It's phenomenal mic.
Yeah, so we should just not talk about anything you guys do and just talk about gear for fucking 2 hours.
But
I could totally
He would
do
be
that.
heaven,
I could
man.
totally do that.
Road has
But,
really.
but yeah, we've got a lot of spooky shit to talk about if you want to
for
hear
sure.
spooky
Well,
shit.
I mean, just to put a pin in. I mean, Road has anyone that's interested in podcasting. Road has changed the game for small time podcasters to be able to do things and have great quality. So,
Why do you get to put a pin in it? You
Yeah.
fucking
Well, 'cause we're at my-
controlling fuck.
because we're at my house.
That's
So-
fair. That's fair. So we actually do. It's always funny when we have guests like that come in person because it's in his basement essentially. So it's super creepy to have people over and be like, "Hey, we're going to be down in the basement. Just come through the side door."
Yeah,
it's
but
totally
you
fine.
just say it's down in the basement like that's just it's a completely finished basement with a bar and a pool table and couch. And
It doesn't change the
it's-
fact that it's in a basement, dude.
Okay, I got you, but it's not like you described
We
it.
should have went over there. They got a bar and
For
pool
real.
table?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if
Yeah.
we didn't have all the shit going on, that's what we would have done.
Right. Hey, we'll have to have you guys back on in person at some point. But
Oh,
okay.
love to.
Okay, getting to what you guys actually do and are all about. So you guys, so I was going through the website and I was going to go through the bios, but you're just going to jump straight in.
Yep.
But so do you guys do outside of like events like this, you guys do actual, like people can call you and you'll come in and do investigations and things of that nature, correct?
Oh yeah. I'll let Steve take over on this because Steve's the founder of our team.
Right.
I was the first official member of East Tennessee Ghost Seekers, and we've
How's
been
that?
going. Yeah, she was third. Yeah, that's still with us. Yeah,
Third time's a charm, Mom.
That's right.
That's what
This
I
is
said
when
about
the,
my
the
current
team
marriage.
got good.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, my current marriage is number
Yeah,
3.
Steve.
So I believe in the third time's a charm thing. So, So, I guess we'll start off. How did you guys? Yeah, so I saw everybody just points at each other. It's great how the blame gets thrown around. But, so how did the whole thing? And I read through it a little bit on the bio, but it doesn't go into too much detail about how you guys actually got started and the reason behind that. If you guys don't mind sharing a bit with that.
Right. Yeah. I got started. It was back in 2005. I worked for a pharmaceutical company. In my schedule, I was working 7 days on, 7 days off. So I was looking for something to do with my, time off. So me and a coworker said, well, shit, we watch ghost hunters all the time. So, hell, we can do that. So we bought some recorders, and started hitting cemeteries and some old abandoned buildings and, started collecting evidence, and it was like, holy shit, this is for real.
Mm-hmm.
So our interest got piqued more and more each time we went out, so we started buying more equipment. And finally, I built our first website and people started calling us, and I needed to expand. So I reached out to Steven, and his mother's house was, and probably still is, one of the most haunted locations that we've ever investigated.
Right.
But, it's just the interest levels. Each and every day, even to this day and age, it just keeps going up and up every day, because we can never learn too much about this field.
Right.
And then 2006 is when I formed East Tennessee Ghost Seekers, and then Steven, he's been the integral part of this team, as far as all the tech, and reviewing and editing. This dude's freaking amazing.
It's a full-time job.
It really is.
Yeah.
A free
full-time job on top of the
so he's not
jobs
just a
we all
pretty
work.
face for the team.
Well, I wouldn't know. I don't know if I'd go too far as a pretty face.
She would say so.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta have someone for the marketing side of things, right? Because if just you two were on the cover, it'd be like, fuck these guys, man. I'm not gonna be a part of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Run.
Yeah.
Run real fast.
So
Well,
we
that was
actually have.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say we actually have 2 other women on our team.
Okay.
So
Which to me is something that's interesting, because a lot of at least the shit you see on TV, that most people, you don't have a lot of women that are represented in the field. But I know it's interesting because, like, my wife is a super big empath. Like, she feels the feels, and she's much more sensitive to that shit than I am. So it's surprising to me. And I don't know, I'm not wording this well, but it seems like you'd have a lot more, because women tend to be a lot more sensitive to those nuances and those changes than men tend to be, in my experience anyway. And it's surprising to me that you don't have a lot more female representation in the field, at least what's seen from a media standpoint, TV and all that shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I personally think it's that whole, that most of them are mamas, and they've got that extra sense out there, because I don't know about you guys, but when the kids were little, I didn't hear their asses crying. I didn't hear them move around in the baby bed and jump up. No, it's the mamas that do that 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And so they've got that extra sensory out there.
Right.
We've gone to places. We did the old Lincoln County Hospital down in Fayetteville, Tennessee.
That's where I'm from.
And we went.
Where I grew up.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So the old hospital there.
Absolutely. It is creepy as fuck, even just driving by.
Yes.
Yeah. So we were in there, and we went down to the maternity ward.
Did you see the little girl?
And we heard
not see, but
a little
experience.
girl.
Yeah, not see. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And we actually had to pull her out because she got emotional, started crying, and
I felt like I was having back labor again.
Oh wow.
Just the pain that was going on, and it was a lot to actually experience.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, it's awesome having, because like the women that we have on our team, we have Andrea, of course. Then we have Amy Sharp.
She's our resident witch.
Yeah. She's our resident witch. And she does all of our cleansings for us. And she's amazing. Amazing. She actually helped nudge us into trying something different that we've always frowned upon.
Yeah, we've always said, hell no.
Yeah, that shit ain't fucking happening. But she actually kind of nudged us to use a Ouija board for the first time.
Oh shit. Yeah, we've talked about that, and Joey's anti Ouija, and I was like, I'll fuck with it, but never have. But it's got to be. It opens up a whole different can of worms in those regards.
It really does. And like, I made ours. I messed around with woodworking and stuff, so I made our Ouija board. And I made the planchette. It's, it's all me and all us into this board, which should make it work better.
Yeah, he decided to make the Ouija board, and he was like, yeah. And he said, how about you paint that? And I'm like, so I get to put part of me in this board? Are you kidding me?
Well, plus, I mean, wood holds energy in a different way than a lot of things do. So,
yeah. And so we used the Ouija board, and to be honest, I thought that it would go one of two ways. It would be either a bunch of shit and nothing fucking happened, or it would be shit. We opened up a hole and demons are attaching to all of our asses, breaking loose, But
both happened. No.
But no, it was awesome. I mean, we got interaction, and our documentary that we just released in August is the Octagon Mansion. The documentary is called The House Where Time Doesn't Matter, and that's on our YouTube page and all that. But you see the Ouija board use in there, and Steve, who is notorious for pissing off spirits, we're using the Ouija board in the basement, and a lot of it I had to cut out of the video just because he's an asshole.
Yeah, right. That's me.
The planchette actually slid off into his lap twice.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah, and then after the second time it slid off into his lap, it slid to goodbye and right off the board.
Oh shit.
So yeah. I mean, so, and you can watch, I mean, we've got camera angles. We've got the camera down at the planchette. You see their fingers barely making contact with this planchette, and this sumbitch moving across the board. I was totally skeptical about it. I thought,
I was the same way. I've never used one growing up or in my young adulthood or anything. And then to have that happen, with my hand on that planchette, knowing I wasn't moving it, and you can see just people's fingers bouncing off that planchette and that son of a bitch falling in my lap. It was like, yeah, okay.
I knew it was real from the beginning.
Yeah, because she was totally against it.
I was like, the only way I'm going to use this board is if Amy's there.
Yeah,
right.
Because I'm like, I trust Amy to be like, let's get out of this process the best way possible.
But Amy, she's the one that convinced Andrea, and because Amy's used them her whole life,
right?
She's made contact with several people through the Ouija board,
right?
And like I said, I was skeptical about it and fearful at the same time,
right?
Because you hear all of this shit, about people becoming possessed,
especially if you grew up in church at all.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
We both grew up in church and very conservative, and you're like, you don't fuck with that demon shit, man. They will fuck your world, type of thing.
Yeah. But dude, that's like my entire family's Baptist. Andrea's entire family's Baptist. Steve's is Catholic.
Oh wow.
And so,
Well, no wonder you piss them off.
and it's like, everyone has always, frowned up, especially my family, not so much Andrea's, but my family, everyone has frowned upon me doing this.
Right.
And
only my mama.
Yeah, only her mama has frowned upon it. But like her mom has come to events that we've held, and her mom's got right in there and investigated.
My mom is the queen of scare, though.
Yeah, she totally is.
From the beginning. She loves scares.
But yeah, like me, I've been doing this since 2001. And my first time I was, in an old school here in Anderson County that I will remain nameless, so I don't get in trouble for breaking into an abandoned.
Yeah, absolutely.
But But it was me and an old Sony micro cassette recorder.
Nice.
Sitting in the school, just doing EVP sessions.
Yeah.
And then it went from there to some houses. Like a lot of my family's in law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would tell them, hey, I'm going to this house tonight. So if you get a call, it's me.
Right.
And so I would go to these houses and I would do that. I would sit in there and with that micro cassette recorder, and I would do EVP, and then I would listen back and see if I got a response to anything that I was asking. If I got anything, if it was, a knock or a whisper or whatever, I would go back to that set of questions that I was asking
mm-hmm.
and build more questions off that. And which is what we still do to this day.
Right.
We do burst sessions that we'll go in and we'll ask, a minute and a half, 2 minutes of questions. And if we get any response to that, then we build more questions off that.
Right. Okay. That's cool. Well, it's funny because we both come from a background. We were talking about this earlier. Like I'm much more, Joey's skeptic is the wrong word, but I mean, he believes in the spirits, the spiritual realm,
Sure.
I guess, just grow up in church, but not so much the hauntings side of things, more just like the good and evil and the spiritual side. And I'm very much more open and believe in the ghosts and haunting, but just because background experiences and and shit like that. And so coming from that background, it's a funny dichotomy between the two of us. But
I mean, like you said, I mean, I have a healthy respect for the spirit world and enough of respect to say that I don't want to fuck with that. Like I want to just have some respect for it and let it be and deal with it as I need being the operative word if I need to. But no, I just don't.
You're a ghost bitch.
No, I just don't believe far. Yeah, that's it. I just don't believe to the extent that like if I were to die in this house that my spirit would hang around and haunt this house. I definitely believe in familiar spirits, like whether you want to say demonic or angelic or whatever, that could hang around somewhere if they had been associated with that person. But I just one of those things. But it's not to say my mind couldn't be changed. I've watched enough stuff to try to change my mind, but so far I haven't had my mind changed yet. But more power to anybody that's interested in it and wants to go out and investigate it. Like
all I can say, if I die and become a ghost, don't be sleeping on your stomach because I'm gonna ghost hit that ass.
Sorry, if you want me,
I'm gonna make you ghost.
If you want me, you're gonna have to be the big spoon, buddy.
But yeah. So
I was gonna say, when I do die, I do want to hang around for a little bit because there's some people I want to haunt the fuck out of.
Right, absolutely.
There's definitely some people I want to scare the shit out of. If I have that opportunity after I pass, I'm scaring the fuck out of them.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. My wife over the last couple of years, like she's in energy work and Reiki healing. Like she's certified for Reiki work and just doing research and looking into like the granny healers of the past. There were a lot of times persecuted as witches, and whereas like reading into it, it wasn't so much that as much as medicine and being more in tune with those types of things. So my wife, she always jokes now. She does a lot of crystal work and stuff like that.
Yeah,
she's basically she'd be like, oh, it's my witch shit, going on through it. But I mean, it's really interesting stuff to me. I tend to I'm kind of emotionally dead inside, so I tend to approach things from a very like logical type of perspective. But I've experienced enough and seen enough shit that I don't discount anything.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm very interested in, though, and we were talking about this earlier again, is there's a lot of different tools that have been invented by people in the field and different things that are used to try to contact or to get evidence of. And some of it's pretty interesting to me, but some of it's really odd because the technology that we have, it hasn't quite gotten to the point where we can solidly prove or disprove. Like you can't capture the spirit realm on a camera, right? We haven't gotten to that at that point yet with modern technology, but there are elements like to me, one of the biggest things that I find fascinating are the EVPs, because that to me is one of the most concrete things. And I granted that there's this weird, I'm trying to think of how to word it. Like the people that are more open to it, like are more accepting of evidences than people that have no desire to have any part of it and think it's all bullshit, right? And so really for most people in my experience that I've talked to, unless they've had some type of paranormal experience or encounter, they tend to be much more closed off and skeptical of shit than
I like that word. I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
Pour you another drink.
Please do. But yeah, it's a very interesting dichotomy. It's placebo, but not, if that makes sense. It's like you're much more likely to be accepting of evidence if you've had these experiences, because you're much more open to the possibility of it being there, as opposed to, oh, fucking, that was dust on that camera, as opposed to whatever. You know, does that make sense? Like I'm kind of rambling with that, but I find that a very interesting thing.
No, you're totally making sense. And like, I think, me personally, you know, coming from, you know, a Christian family, I think that if you can't handle it, God's not going to let you see it.
Okay.
You know, if it's going to affect you in a negative way, most of the time God's not going to let you see it, especially if it's something that's not malevolent.
Right.
You know, if it's something malevolent, it's up in the air, you know.
Right.
If you're going to get scared, you're going to get scared. If you're going, you know, but like my first experience, I was 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was 2 weeks after my great grandfather passed away. He lived right beside of us, and I was raised by my grandparents. And so it's my mama's dad and mom that lived beside of us. And, you know, I was that chunky kid that as soon as he got off the bus, he went straight to the great grandparents' house because they had little Debbie cakes, you know,
right.
And, you know, and you too. And, so when
I was an oatmeal
when
cream pie kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
All about them cream pies.
That's actually
Guilty.
Yeah.
I mean, that is actually a staple in our investigations, because we always have to stop for oatmeal cream pies to take on an investigation for snacks.
Yeah.
You ever tried taking the devil's cream pie in there with you?
Not yet.
Oh,
not yet.
Well, you know, you
but
might.
you know,
there's some angel food cake.
Steve's open up for the devil's cream pie.
Oh, yeah.
It usually hits him, bam, right in the ass.
Right in the ass.
I've heard that devils do that. So
yeah, they do. Yeah. That's the way of the Ichabus. Yes.
Ah, okay.
But but 2 weeks after he passed away, I had gone to bed, and I remember I went and I laid down with my back to my door. That's how I always slept, and I felt someone sit down on my bed. And I was thinking it was my mama or my papa. And I roll over, and it's my great-grandfather. And he patted me on my leg, smiled, and got up and walked out of my room. I jump up out of the bed, run into the hall. I look, there's no one there. I ran and I jumped in bed with my grandparents, and I slept there for probably 6 months. And yeah, it scared the shit out of me. But my mama, she was like, you know, he's just checking on you. You know, right. He's just wanting to let you know that he's okay, and he's checking on you to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny, because your mama is like a super Christian.
Yeah. Like, but she believes in this. So
she does.
She believes in this. You know, she's seen things growing up.
Right.
And even, you know, she's 87 years old now. And she's still, like, you can go talk to her and she can tell you about stuff that she's experienced her entire life. You know, she totally believes in it. She doesn't like that we go out
and look
for it. But, you know,
it's funny. My grandparents,
we're helping families.
Yeah, no, for that. And that's awesome. Like my grandparents lived in this, it was an old plantation house in Fayetteville, Tennessee. And I experienced some of the, and I was an adult at this period of time. There was some crazy shit, but my grandmother's the type that, like, shit happens and she's just like, oh, it's just whatever. Like shit happens, but she completely is in denial about any of it. Like this house was one, you'd come home, nobody be home all day. And like, it's cliche, but like every fucking cabinet and drawer was open in the fucking kitchen. And she'd be like, well, that's weird. And you would just close them all back up, you know? But, you know, I was telling
wind.
Right. We have a buddy that's really big into the supernatural stuff as well, because he's had a lot of experiences. And I was telling him like at this house, like as an adult, was sleeping in the upstairs bedroom, and I heard footsteps and fucking music in the attic, and that shit scared the fuck out of me. And I was in my 30s, you know, and I was like,
Right.
my early 30s, and you know, just shit like that. Like that house was haunted. Like, why plantation houses are always fucking terrible, but you know, because there's so much trauma and stuff. Yeah, but
right.
But anyway,
what kind of music did you hear?
it was like old timey record. Like it's all fucking very cliche. But
so what happens?
It wasn't Eminem.
Let's just say, well, that's where I'm going right now. Like, what happens? Let's say 20 or 30 years from now, because everyone that experiences anything, for the most part, experiences like very old spirits and very old things. You know, the old cliched, old timey music. Whatever.
Sometimes.
What happens when like techno and mumble rap is a thing of the past, and that's
Skrillex. Skrillex is what's going to be haunting people.
Yes.
Like that shit will be in the fucking air.
Or our great
that is my goal. Is to
go ahead.
My goal is to be in this type of work that far down, because I can't wait to get an EVP of Skrillex.
Yeah, Skrillex.
or you know, some, you know, Rob Zombie or something.
Well, that's when it's like, if it's Skrillex, it's like, okay, there truly is no God. It's all evil.
I want to get that EVP of, you know, old school Metallica, like when Metallica was Metallica. You know,
what do they say? Reloaded, because the first Loaded sucked. You know, it was this one.
Well, and they still continue to fail. See, I'm talking about the '80s shit, the real Metallica stuff. Right. But
Which an offshoot of that, I watched that Metallica documentary back at Bonnaroo back in the day, and I was like, I've lost all respect for this band after that fucking them crying in therapy about they don't respect me.
Yeah, that's some kind of monster. That monster's a pussy. So,
I know we keep cutting you guys off in offshoots and stuff, so I apologize for that. But
that's okay.
But in an argument, Joey, there are some more modern hauntings and shit like that. People that's got like that are lack of a word, like sometimes oppressed by like familiar like family shit, like there was, you know, traumatic and stuff like that.
Well, there's a guy I saw on
I am crushing this
YouTube the other night.
Goddamn good.
Huff. Steve, is that his name? Is his name Steve Huff?
Yes.
So where he is talking to, you know, well, he's got a session recently he put out where he's supposedly talking to Eddie Van Halen and things like that. So I mean, I know that there are definitely times, or at least videos out there, where people are supposedly talking to newer.
But that's where I get more skeptical, and not to discount any work that people do, but I feel like a lot of times in this, not industry, but in this field, I guess, of practice, that you get some people that are really dead on, but can also be way off, and then at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like they have some legitimate experiences and legitimate things that occur, but because of their heavy belief in whatever's going on, there's a lot of reaching as well, because they want so bad to prove to skeptical people watching that this is something that's happening, as opposed to coming from a place that it's okay to be wrong, or it's okay to miss the boat. But I guess I feel like there's a lot of people, I'm trying to word this correctly, but like with Ghost Hunters, the OG show that was fucking, I loved it. I used to religiously watch that. But after the fact, it came out that they bullshitted a lot of stuff for the publicity and to keep the show going. And to me, that to people that don't believe in all this stuff, it's a very discrediting thing to the validity of some of the other stuff. Like it doesn't do it justice because of fame or to get the attention or whatever the case may be. And it's this weird line that gets walked between legitimate things that need to be proved and that desire to be there, but also that desire for like clicks and whatever else the case may be. And I tend to see that a lot, at least from a personal standpoint, in that arena. Like you have like a lot of the shows, I love them so much, but there's always an element that like, I can guarantee you they're bullshit in that part. Just for,
it's TV, you know. I mean,
absolutely.
You got to entertain, you know, but a lot of times those TV shows, you know, give the true investigators, you know, a piss poor name, you know.
Absolutely.
Like the original Ghost Hunters, when they were at Waverly Hills for one of their Halloween specials, you know, they were caught faking evidence.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, and I lost all respect for him at that point.
And the sucky
And
thing is, at Waverly Hills, there is absolutely zero reason
to fake anything.
No.
We've all been there, and
Yeah.
there's absolutely no reason to fake anything.
Yeah.
Like
Because
Grant
Steve's
was
been
the
waiting.
man. I loved Grant. Like he was my favorite
yeah.
part of the team.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, you goddamn bitches. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's all for ratings. You know,
And that's what I mean. Like the people that tend to get into the limelight because of their work, a lot of times discredit people that are really legitimately trying to do work and help people. That's
Right,
kind of
yeah.
what I was getting to with my diatribe.
Yeah. 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 Because, I mean, like, Steve's been to Waverly 6 times. I've been 5 times with him. Andrea's been once, you know, and there's no reason at all to fake evidence in Waverly Hills.
None whatsoever.
Now,
None
I will
whatsoever.
say, I'm going to go out and say that when you go to an investigation, whether it be a really big, well-known haunted location, whether it be a residential, whatever, it doesn't work like a light switch. You can't just turn on and turn
Right.
off the activity. And there's been times that we've gone to these large locations that are super crazy haunted and nothing.
Nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you have a TV show, and this goes for any of these paranormal shows, when you have a TV show that is relying on activity to keep viewership,
Right.
they're going to do whatever they can to keep the viewership, whether it be real or fake.
Right.
And that's why, you know, a lot of times you just have to look at these shows and be like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's great entertainment value.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
see, there was like a few years ago, we were featured on a TV show on Lifetime Movie Network called I Was Possessed
Okay.
for a house in Knoxville that we investigated. And we actually had to have Bill Bean come down and perform an exorcism on the lady that lived in the house and on the house itself.
Mhm.
Well, after that, Steve was contacted by the same media outlet because they were wanting to do a special for Halloween, a 5-part series on the Bell Witch for A&E.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for A&E Network. And they were like, you know, we're going to, you know, give you a script and all this. And we're like, no, you know, we don't operate on a script.
Right.
You know,
Well, that's the thing about reality TV. Like, it's not really
Mhm.
reality TV. It's just
Oh, yeah.
filmed
Yeah.
where they can save a fuck ton of money and just have a loose script. Like, okay, you guys need to redo this. We didn't quite catch what we wanted, or you need to
Right.
act more
Yeah.
pissed in this part of it, or whatever the case
Mhm.
may be. And most people, like, they just eat that shit up like it's
Yeah.
real. And I don't understand that at
Yeah,
all.
so I mean, we
great
wound up
TV.
turning that down, and they brought in actors to portray paranormal investigators.
Oh, wow.
And honestly, I mean, it was on for 5 nights around Halloween 3 years ago, and you know, the ratings blew up on it.
Yeah.
You know, but we're not going to, you know, throw our reputation out the window by
Absolutely.
faking evidence. It's not going to
Yeah,
happen.
never.
Yeah,
Not going to
which
happen.
is
But that's not why
respectable.
we do this.
Right. And which is one of the reasons, like I said, reading on you guys, the legitimacy of what you're doing, like, really appealed to me, because it's something I really respect. And I've never been on like a type of investigation over, and that's like one of my dreams, is to go on one of these things, even though I feel like I'm in with Steven in that regard. Like, I tend to make those things fucking mad. Because I very much, one of the experiences that I've had, and I don't, you know, talk about this shit a lot, but I know sleep paralysis is a big thing and gets kicked off on a lot of bullshit. But I experienced this in my ex-wife's house, which was haunted as fuck. Like, that place was, and after this, I refused to ever stay there again. But I woke up, it was in the middle of the night. I think it was 3 or 4 in the morning. Just fucking like, kind of like sleep paralysis, but I physically felt a hand like over my mouth, like pressing down. And it felt like if being held down, like an arm around like the legs and a hand over the mouth. And it was fucking awful. Like, and I don't get super scared usually, but that terror, but I got up and I was fucking mad. And I was like, come on, bitch. Like, you want to fucking get me while I'm sleeping? Let's fucking throw down, you know? And whatever, if it was malevolent, which it probably was, would have fucking destroyed me because, you know, whatever, but I was fucking ready to fight.
Throw hands.
Well, he has probably one of the most terrifying stories of sleep paralysis I've ever heard.
Which is a super interesting thing to me because there's more to it, in my opinion, than just a brain state, like a half awake, half asleep. But
right. Yeah. Because my experience, I mean, it just seems so freaking real. You know, it was probably a week after we come back from our last Waverly Hills investigation, you know, and I just went to bed and I'm laying there. I know I wasn't asleep. And then all of a sudden my arms were thrown up behind my head. And I just happened to open my eyes, and you seen the movie The Ring.
Yeah.
You know, that chick with the long black fucking hair. Well, this thing is on top of me, just showing its teeth, got these jagged ass fucking teeth. I mean, it was nasty and just a putrid smell in the air.
Mm-hmm.
It was freaking unreal, you know. And as for the, you know, sleep paralysis, you know, I'm screaming, trying to move. I couldn't,
right.
You know, and it seemed like forever, but it's probably only 10, 15 seconds, you know, and everything just stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Cause like with mine too, I had the voice in my ear, like the whisper. It was like, it fucked me up for a while. And I was like, I'm not staying here. Fuck this shit. You know, I'm not dealing with this. Like in the moment I was pissed, but afterwards I'm like, I'm not putting myself in a situation where this shit is going to happen again. Like it was a super odd, like my first experience, I was probably 4 or 5. And I don't think I've talked about this because it sounds stupid as fuck, but I can distinctly remember, and I have no memories as a kid. I'm pretty sure something happened or I was fucking finger banged. I have no idea. But, but I remember like I was going to my parents' house and there was like this gargoyle looking fucking thing with little red eyes at the top of the stairs that tried to fucking push me down the stairs. And I was wrestling with this thing for a fucking while. And then it finally let go and I ran down to the parents' house. And of course, everybody was like, oh, you were just having a nightmare or whatever. But I remember like the physical altercation with this stupid thing. And it's a really weird thing, but it stuck with me my whole fucking life. You know, it was a very odd experience. And it's shit like that I guess, go ahead.
My brother David saw almost the exact same description that you just gave when he was about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7.
It's fucking weird.
Standing on, we had bunk beds in our bedroom, and he said it was sitting on, and he described it like a little kid would, but he said it flew from the top bunk bed down to the bottom bunk bed, and he left and went into my mom and stepdad's room, and then he woke my mom up, and a few minutes later, my mom, the two of them saw what they described as angels come into the room and stand at the foot of the bed.
Yeah.
And just basically stand post at the foot of the bed. And I mean, I believe stuff like that happens for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my daughter deals with sleep paralysis occasionally, and I think Gabe does too. But,
well, I remember when my daughter was little, she had night terrors for a while, but she was like, I can't even explain it. It was almost like
most serial killers do,
right? Yeah. But well, she takes after her dad. But it was the weirdest thing. Like she would have these things when I went and got her, and it wasn't just sleep paralysis. It was like, it freaked me the fuck out. Like it was almost like it was a different fucking kid. Like the way she screamed and talked, and it was like this, like really low for her little fucking tiny 3-year-old voice. Like it was super fucking creepy. And this happened for like 2 or 3 years before she finally, lack of a better word, grew out of it. But like that shit scared the fuck out of me, you know, because it was like a whole different element to the kid. I don't know. All this shit, I guess, like I'm fascinated by it. Like I fully believe in a lot of it, and especially with my experiences. And like I was a full-time pastor for a little while, like fucking years ago. And this was like in the Assemblies of God, like Pentecostal realm, but that's a demon possession and all that shit is a big deal. And so it's like some of the shit I've experienced in that realm just fully locks into a lot of the shit. So like I have the utmost respect for what you guys do. And a lot of people are assholes and, you know, they blow it off, but like until you've experienced it, it's hard to comprehend what it is. But I had somewhere I was going with
and
that.
That's what we do. We try to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
What is happening? Why do some people experience things and why do some not?
Yeah.
And,
you know, why do I get attacked and they don't?
Because you're fucking
horrible. You're a horrible person.
No, that was actually where I was going. It's super interesting to me, the fucking Catholic Church's history with demonic possession and exorcisms. It's one of the only form of organized like Christianity that puts a lot. They have people designated specifically to investigate and to handle these cases. Like if nothing else, that should speak a lot to the existence of that shit, and most people don't take that into consideration. I fully believe the Catholic Church, they're sitting on so much information and knowledge that they're not willing to throw out to the rest of the world. Like it fascinates the shit out of me. Like I love it so much. And so that would be like why I feel like that you probably get fucking picked on, because you got that shit going on around you, and it just it triggers that shit in my opinion.
Covered in bad juju.
Yeah.
Well, so that's one of the questions that I had when you guys said that he's the asshole that pisses the spirits or whatever off.
I mean, I could look at you and tell you you're an asshole, but outside
it's easy to see.
Hell
it's easy to see. Yeah.
So that's
I'm
what
doing
I
something
wanted
right.
to ask. Like, what is it that does he do something to piss? Like, is it well, that's what I was going to say. Are you actually doing something to try to do it, or is it just your presence seems to piss things off, or both maybe?
Yeah, both actually. Yeah. A lot of times if we're not getting any activity, I will, start to try and intimidate, provoke and antagonize, just to see if we can get anything from that, and like Stephen has said earlier with our EVP sessions, we'll go off questions, and then when we get responses, we'll go off that again. But it's the same way with the provoking and the antagonizing. If we get a response from something that I'm doing, then we'll move along that direction. And then if not, then we'll calm it back down and go the other direction. But 99% of the time, something's going to happen, and my ass gets attacked.
Yeah. So in other words, you're one of those dudes you want to throw hands with some shit is what it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like our crash test dummy.
Well, I feel
they call me the magnet.
Yeah.
Well, depending on the origin, lack of a better word, origin of the entity, like that anger and willingness to throw down has got to provoke and like stir some shit up, like in ways that it can't, especially if it's any type of malevolent, that conflict is key.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest I've ever been hit in my life was by something I couldn't see.
Yeah.
And that was out in Morse Mill, Missouri. And this place was freaking evil as hell. It was Morse Mill Hotel, and I used to go there and investigate, by myself, for 4 or 5 days at a time. And I mean, it's just a crazy ass freaking place. I could go on for hours and hours about this place, but
our last trip to Morse Mill,
was
in 2012.
Yeah,
2012 was our last trip to Morse Mill.
I just missed it.
Just that much. Yeah. But the owner of the hotel, he had called Steve, and he was like, they're ending their ghost tour at 2 a.m. this morning. So if you guys want to go in behind and go ahead and set up your cameras for tomorrow, you'll be, get a little head start. Or we're like, fuck yeah. So we called the other two guys in the team that was with us at the time, and we all head out, and we're sitting out there waiting to go in. Ghost tour gets over, we go in, we start setting up cameras. At one point in time, we were down in what they called the dungeon, and it was this stone room that had this concrete slab poured in the center of it that was 1.5 feet tall.
Yeah, easily.
And had eye bolts in the top of it where they would actually chain the slaves up back in the day. And we're down there, and we hear somebody run across the ceiling to us, but the floor above us. Hear somebody run across there. Well, Steve and Jeff, our old investigator, take off up there. Nothing there. I continue setting up the camera. Then we go out, we move upstairs, and we separate and then come back together in this room they call the bunk bedroom. It had a bed suspended from the ceiling had chains holding this bed, it was badass.
That sounds cool as shit.
Yeah, it was badass. And so we're in there talking, then all of a sudden this guy's gone. And we're like, where the fuck did Steve go? And Tim was like, well, he probably went out to smoke. I was like, what? Let's go smoke then. So we go downstairs and
you guys smoke, not to interrupt you, but that's cool as shit because we usually take a break in the middle of this so I can go fucking smoke. So that's more brotherhood right there. So continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we go outside, and on this investigation, this was Steve's nephew's very first investigation. He was 15. Yeah. And so he wanted to go with his big Uncle Steve, and go do this big haunted house. Well, we go outside and Steve's not out there. So Jeff and Tim go back inside and they're like, we'll go find him. And me and Cody were standing outside. They're in there about 2 minutes and I hear screaming and yelling come from inside. I'm like, what the fuck? So I take off and I go in. As I'm running in, Tim's running out. And he's like, Jeff's in the basement with Steve. He needs you. And he just keeps going. I'm like, thanks for the backup, And so I start down the steps. And when I start down the steps, Steve crosses the path at the bottom of the steps. And there's a room right there. As soon as you get down the bottom of the steps, there's a room right there to the right. And it's this big, huge open room that they had a cistern in for the hotel back in the day. And Steve's screaming and yelling and cussing and going on into this room. I can see Jeff to my left, standing over next to this fireplace. And he's like, dude, don't come down here. Don't come down here. And, I'm noticing Steve's yelling is going from his voice to not his voice. Mm-hmm. It was not his voice coming out of his body, screaming and yelling. And I'm a dumbass, so I walk on down the steps, and I get there next to him, and I'm like, dude, who are you yelling at? He's like, that motherfucker right there. And I'm like, who? He goes, right fucking there. Don't you see him? And I'm like, how about this? How about we get out, and maybe he'll leave? I was like, you're kind of scary right now. Maybe you're intimidating him. Let's get you out of here, and maybe he'll leave. And he's like, I'm not leaving till he leaves. All of a sudden, he starts gagging and coughing and starts to throw up. When he starts to throw up, me and Jeff grab him, run upstairs, and out of the building.
I have no recollection of this at all.
Okay.
And Steve goes over to the side of the building, and he's standing there taking a piss. Jeff is sitting on the stoop, going in the front door. I'm standing directly in front of him, talking to him about all this shit that just happened. And Tim and Cody are sitting on this rock wall that surrounds the place. Steve all of a sudden says, who's inside the building? And we're like, nobody. We're all right here. He goes, somebody just walked by that fucking window. 3-4 seconds later, one of our equipment cases that weigh probably 25 pounds lands directly behind Jeff that was sitting on a couch 20 to 25 feet away.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It was thrown with some force.
Yeah. And we went back that next night, and it was crazy all night long. But that house, or I call it a house. It looks like a big ass house, but it was an old hotel from the early 1800s.
Yeah, Jesse James and his gang used to run it.
Shit.
Charlie Chaplin used to frequent it when it was a brothel. Al Capone used to hold poker tournaments there.
So I got a question. We were talking about this earlier, and it's amazing to me how organic this came up, because I was trying to figure out how I was going to ask this question.
Okay.
So I've heard plenty of people talk about the smells that they smell when they do investigations or when they think a place is haunted. It's the kitchen of an old plantation house, and they smell bacon cooking and cornbread or whatever.
Yep.
How come I've never heard anyone talk about somewhere like that smelling like worn out ass and sweaty tits? I've never heard anything like that in my life. And to be a brothel that old that had that much going, I would think someone's got to smell a brothel in there, because they couldn't have smelled good.
Right.
They didn't have any AC back then.
My only suggestion on that would be that not many people have actually been in an 1800s brothel, so they don't exactly know what it smells like. So they could go in and be like, "Dang,
there's no mistaking sweaty ass.
What is this?
There's no mistaking a worn out sweaty ass."
Right.
I feel like honestly, like in those situations, like non-joking aside, I feel like a lot of times, any entity that's drawing attention to itself is going to throw up very, very familiar smells. And I granted you say like dirty ass is a familiar smell, and that's true for like yourself, and then like you're disgusting. And the only time you gag and throw up is on a fucking 2-inch cock, because that's how.
Because it smells like a sweaty ass.
But no, that's
yeah, no, it was just. I was thinking about that. And I was thinking about, wait a minute, you never hear about any of that kind of stuff. Like, honestly, but
maybe nobody wants to admit that they know what that smells like.
Maybe they don't.
Yeah. We get phantom smells all the time. We get putrid smells. A lot of times we get smells of perfume, cigar smoke, and we got bacon that one time at Waverly Hills.
Yeah.
I've experienced the perfume thing, and that shit's creepy as fuck when you're like,
it is. Yeah.
Where, like, a lot of that stuff for me, it's fascinating, but it's very unnerving the few times I've experienced it, because you're like, there's no reason for this to be happening. And that's part of, I don't know, but I have found that most people that are skeptical would not go on an overnight with like you guys to something, because, whether it's subconscious or not, they're terrified that shit might actually exist.
I'm not
right.
I'm not as terrified that it may actually exist.
You don't want to bring something back with you.
That's it. I don't want to bring it back.
And it happens.
Yeah, and that's
quite
the thing.
often.
Like that's why I say I have a healthy respect for it, that if the way people generally think the ghosts and things are, like, I don't want to bring that shit back with me.
See, I'm not gonna lie. I want
you guys.
So bad to hang out with you guys and come on an investigation. Like, I want it. I want it so much.
Come on.
Well,
more than welcome.
We can make that happen.
If
happen.
I said I were going to do something like that, my wife would put the kibosh on that quick.
Yeah.
Because she's
your wife's scared of aliens.
You're right. She is scared of aliens, but I'm just like, my wife was like,
ditto.
No, you're not coming back. You're not.
Scariest movie I've ever seen in my life. Fourth Kind.
Yeah.
That is one of the movies that scared the shit out of me the most. Now, it pissed me off later on when I found out that it wasn't actually true.
Right.
Because it was marketed as, this is actual footage mixed in with acting. Yes.
Right.
And then you find out it's not. It freaked me out enough that before I could go to bed, I had to go look it up and find out for sure. And
see, for me, what ruined that is I was stationed in Alaska for a long time when I was in the military. And I was like, I've been to Nome. This does like Nome. There are no fucking trees. Like, so immediately I was like, meh. Like the whole saying is Alaska, there's a pretty woman behind every tree, and there are no fucking trees like in Nome. But yeah, I don't know, man. This is I'm having so much fun. This shit's so awesome. I have a couple more questions besides other shit, but we're almost at the hour point. Would you guys care if we took like a 5-10 minute break real quick? Because I'm wanting some nicotine.
Works perfect. That way I can get this lighting fixed.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed it popped on. I was like, it got really bright all of a sudden.
Yeah, it got all washed out all of a sudden, so I need to fix that. So
yeah, and then we had to see you guys in full color, and it was like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck just
no wonder the ghosts get pissed.
Exactly right.
So if you guys don't mind taking like 5 or 10, I usually leave the Zoom call running, but and we'll just when you're ready, we'll pop back in here in just a few minutes, if that's cool.
Yeah. Just give me time to get this fixed, and you guys go do your smoking. He'll step out and smoke, and we'll be good to go.
Sounds all right. Hey, everybody. We'd like to take a minute to tell you about a really cool podcasting app called Stitcher Premium.
Yeah, Stitcher Premium is, like you said, a free app, and they've got everything you could look for: true crime, comedy, pop culture, The Office ladies. I think Conan O'Brien's podcast is on there. There's lots of things on there.
And archives of all those things.
Oh, yeah. And smart lists.
Yeah, the smart list. That's what I was about to say, you fuck. Smart lists basically will watch what you're listening to, or listen to what you're listening to, use some fancy algorithms, and make recommendations on shit that you already like.
Yeah, so if you go to Stitcher.com/premium and use the code B3F, you can get a month free. So it's $4.99 a month or $34.99 if you pay for a full year. But use the code B3F and you'll get a free month.
Check it out. All right.
All right, here we are again.
We're back. I always want to say if you're just joining us, but who the fuck just just picks up in the middle of a podcast?
I hear podcasters say that. If you're just joining us, we're talking to.
Yeah, but like
Tennessee Ghost Seek.
Like if you're listening to shit on like Spotify and you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to skip halfway through.
Right.
Like, you're probably a terrible human being, and I don't want you listening.
That is.
Anyway.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. If you commit to my podcast, I want you to listen to the whole fucking thing.
Right. Well,
That's
unless you're live, which is a whole different story, which you guys do.
Yeah.
But is that because it's cool, like listening to your stuff. You actually, one of the things that we've struggled with on this is getting people to interact. Because people, I don't know, like, well, granted, maybe I don't know why they don't want to call in. Just like they hate us. I don't know, but because we always post, like, we have a number like you guys do that people can call in during, and we have like 2 people that do, or 1 usually, and that's Don, and he just bores the shit out of us whenever he calls.
We actually had one last night, night before last, Thursday night, that called in. I guess he had never heard of our podcast. He just happened upon it.
Yeah, he jumped on Podbean and saw, hey, these fuckers are live. Let's talk to them.
Yeah, and he called in, and it was the funniest thing ever.
But then it turned into
a really great thing.
Super interesting, because he brought up a paranormal phenomenon that we have no experience in.
Yeah, never even heard of it.
And so now we're going to start researching, and we're going to devote an entire episode to it.
Remember that time we had somebody from Mongolia call?
Yeah.
Yes.
We had a guy from
That was
Mongolia
great.
call in one time.
The language barrier there was
A little difficult.
A little difficult. Yeah. But he tried to talk to us. He called in and like, hello, bear dog. You know?
If you're going to call in, man, you need to call in fucking American, because we're
That's right.
American bitches.
Speak American.
So what did the guy bring up Thursday night that you'd never?
But before we go there, I just want to say I'm never shaving my beard again. Like, looking in this camera, I look like a fucking fat frat boy. Fuck this.
You basically are.
You're only like 20, right?
Yeah, right? No, I'm 40. God damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
pup.
I'm right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Right there. Well, I say 40. I'm 39. But
Me
close
too.
enough. Really?
Yeah, her too.
Yeah.
Nice. When's the birthday?
June 17th.
I got March. So
June 17th. That's my youngest son's birthday.
yeah, your youngest. I
Awesome.
hate
Great
your youngest
day.
son.
It's a great
I'm
day.
kidding. I like Matthew.
I'll be 50 in April.
Oh wow.
I'll be 40 in January.
Yeah. I mean, granted, your youngest son isn't as cool as your oldest two, but he's not bad.
My youngest son is he's the middle.
Oh yeah, he is your middle.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's even worse.
We forgot the little one.
Yeah.
We forgot the actual middle child. No.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. So the caller that brought up some stuff. Like, what is that?
Yeah. It was like paranormal, like aqua paranormal.
Yeah, he called it a UAO.
Yeah.
Unidentified aquatic objects.
I have read into that actually a good bit. Like, that shit's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like an invisible type manatee.
Manta
Right,
ray.
manta
Or manta ray.
Yeah.
Whatever. Manatee. Manta ray.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Manta ray.
And so he started telling us about it, and while we're live, Mike's sitting here, and Mike's going, he started Googling it, and then he started telling us about other occurrences of this same phenomenon.
We're like, oh my gosh, he's not crazy.
He's not just really, really freaking high.
Well, actually, coming out of the the Coast Guard thing. I mean, like, really, there's a lot of stories with sailors and shit like that I feel like a lot of that stuff pulls from. I mean, the water is a fucking crazy place to be. Like, I've been out, in the middle of the Bering Sea in the wintertime, and that shit's, it's creepy as fuck. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I can see
I'm sure.
where a lot of this shit comes from. Like, it's a very odd thing.
Yeah, the oceans are so vast. I mean, there's shit there that probably never find.
Yeah.
But
Which
he was talking about this manta ray that was like 50 feet above the ocean, and he's standing, on the beach, and him and 2 other people saw it.
Yeah.
And at first we're like, he's just, motherfucker is high, because we could hear him hitting his bong.
Yeah, his
you know,
handle was something 420.
Yeah, yeah. We could hear him hitting his bong when he called in, and we're like, this guy's just fucking with us. And then Mike started researching it right there on the spot. We're like, holy shit, it's for real.
Yeah.
And then he went from stoner dude to talking, with some knowledge on this.
Yeah.
And so we're going to devote an entire podcast to it. So
nice.
It'll be interesting.
We love our cryptids.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's a whole different world. That's super fascinating to me. Yeah, like I love that shit so much. Like me more than you. Like that's
like it's interesting to me, but not enough for me to go search out things to read about it. No.
I mean, I'm
like
not
to-
going to
you don't like
go
to read
hunt
in.
for Bigfoot. Just
Right.
I
saying.
would love to.
I would do it.
I'm not going to go hunt.
I
for
would go on a
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot hunt. I would
Yeah,
for
I
sure
would
go on a
totally
Bigfoot.
That's called a hike. I
Good
can go
job.
on a hike anywhere.
I don't know. I used to believe in the possibility of the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
Bigfoot, I'm a little more skeptical of, but not
I see.
tons.
I'm more likely to believe in a Yeti than the Bigfoot. But at the same time, we have so much unexplored terrain, and even in the States, like it's not improbable to me. Like it's
Sure.
not likely, but it's not improbable.
Sure.
But Stephen and I had an experience coming back from old South Pittsburgh Hospital one night.
No, it sounds
Hell's
horrible.
Bar.
Oh, was it
Hell's
Hell
Bar,
Bar? That's
yeah.
what, yeah. But I'll let Stephen tell it.
Yeah, so we're coming back from Hell's Bar. It's probably almost 4 a.m.
Probably, yeah.
And we're coming from Oak Ridge into Clinton, and there's a four lane there, and we're the only vehicle on the road, and we see something in front of us take like 6 steps and cross all 4 lanes of traffic, and there's a huge median that's just grassy way in between the 2 lanes. This sumbitch took like 4 steps and made it all the way across and was gone.
Yeah, and it was definitely bipedal. I mean,
It was standing up on 2 legs, running, and we don't know
Joey's
how
bipedal.
That word does sound like it could mean something really bad.
I was actually just thinking that. I was like, bipedal.
Yeah. That sounds like some dude that doesn't like discriminate against the children he's going to fucking bang.
How do you identify? I identify bipedal.
Hey, but in the South, he'd only get like fucking 6 months in jail. Jesus Christ.
That's true. It's the way to go.
That's identifying.
Yeah. Like if you're going to pick to, the type of crime you're going to commit, like that's in the South is probably the best way to go.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Or domestic abuse. Like either way, you're out in just a very short amount of time.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Minimal damage.
Yeah.
No biggie.
Well, yeah, what fucking, like, I read this thing the other day that on average, like, pedophiles in the South get like a quarter of the sentence of people that like deal weed, which is insane.
It is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's unreal.
Yeah, the weed dealers are just providing a service.
Right. Exactly. As someone that used to have like severe drug addictions, like I feel like the people that provide you should be in a sense heroes and not necessarily persecuted in the same way as people that harm children. Like fuck those assholes.
Right. Yeah. Lock their asses up. But the marijuana dealers, come on,
Embrace them.
Embrace them. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Give them a platform to sell.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
and-
It's
No,
big.
go ahead.
It's big tobacco.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I
So-
was going to say, let DOE make it okay for me to do it.
Yeah, right.
So have you guys ever investigated like the Chapel Hill lights here in Chapel Hill, Tennessee, or
That's actually, I was going to ask them if they ever investigate like urban legends and things
Yeah.
that occur locally.
Red ash.
Red ash. Yeah, we
I
did
hadn't
red
heard of that.
ash.
I haven't heard of that.
It's up in Caryville, Campbell County,
Campbell County.
and it's all outdoors.
Mm.
There's a railroad trestle.
It's a 14-mile stretch of road.
Yeah, and I mean, we went up there, and it's a cool place. But it's very popularized now.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's really hard to go up there, but
To investigate.
because it's a free open place. It's public. So everybody's going up there because of this, especially in October.
And plus, they've just opened up a shitload of ATV trails up there. So you've got all that
all the
noises, and it's crazy.
But we did get some great activity up there near the cemetery because there's no electricity out there.
Right.
And we were getting some K2 hits
and audio disturbance
disturbance
in our recorders. And to get that distortion, you hear the audio interference in the recorder when there's no power lines, no anything to cause that interference. And so that was interesting.
Yeah.
It was very interesting.
And that kind of brings me back to what you were talking about earlier about the technology, of the equipment in this field. Probably 85 to 90% of our equipment that we use is mainly for electricians, plumbers that have been modified in ways for us to be able to use them in our field. As far as, like thermal cameras, electromagnetic field detectors. It's crazy how a lot of the engineers in this field have been able to recreate these devices.
Xbox cameras,
exactly. Yeah,
we got electricians out there that have probably been hitting on some paranormal stuff and not even knowing
and thinking it's bad wiring.
Yeah, it's all bad wiring, man.
Well, that's I was going to say one thing that's interesting because essentially, if you break down, oh shit, is that a phone call?
No.
Hello,
that was a telemarketer.
Oh, okay,
you're on Paratalk.
We should have had them on. But one of the things that's fascinating to me is because essentially, like when you break everything down, everything is fucking energy, like different frequencies that exist within the same plane. Like even like human beings, we vibrate. Like, in theory, if you could control the vibration of your body, you could fucking walk through walls. Because everything is vibrating at a certain frequency. So, like a lot of the things with electric, like EVP, shit like that, really is what fascinates me. And one of my experiences, and we've talked about this, is like it's like a few weeks after my grandmother died. Like I got a fucking voicemail out of nowhere that just said, it was her voice that just said, "Hey, Steven, call your grandmother." That was it. That's all it said. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, has it been floating around the ether for like 6 months, or is it just like
dude, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was insane. And I had no granted, this was, years ago when I still had my fucking sweet ass Nokia phone, but
those are great.
Yeah, right. And the T9, you could text and not even look at that shit. But anyway, like I couldn't even, it was because usually like if you got a late voicemail, it might be a day after, it might be whatever, but this was a few weeks and that shit still, like it was the craziest thing because it came through. There was no number attached to it. It was an unknown type of thing. And so just that medium of vibration and electromagnetic frequency that occurs is one of those things that I'm like, that's to me some of the most valid evidence that comes out of that is really hard to deny. Like some of it you can be like, oh, that was a stretch, but some of that shit, it's a very clear like phrase or whatever the case may be.
And see, that's why usually, when we always have, a camera going, digital recorder going, and we've got some piece of tech with us that we're using.
Right.
And when you get that K2 hit and you get that EVP at the same time, and you have the camera filming this to validate, that happened exactly when we got this, it helps simply validate that there's something else out there.
Our greatest piece of equipment is ourselves. I mean,
absolutely
feelings that you get, if you walk into a cold spot, you can tell the difference between, the ambient temperatures in the room. You get the chills, your hair stand on.
That's what I was about to say. The chills for me is a big indicator of truth because like if somebody's bullshitting, I got nothing, but when somebody tells a story that I feel like there's some validity to, I get the whole hair on the back of the neck. Your body is more sensitive to a lot of that shit than you realize it is.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's why one of the reasons, like until you've experienced some shit, like as much as it's not recordable, the anecdotal stuff is some of the most powerful evidence you can personally have for belief in whatever is going on around you. And it's what drives continued investigation and just openness to a lot of those things that happen.
Yeah.
One of the greatest things that happened to me was at Old South Pit, and my favorite piece of equipment is the Ovulus 5.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Ovulus 5. It has a dictionary mode. It has a true false mode. It has like a
I've seen
seismic
those. They're
mode.
cool as shit. Yeah.
It is my favorite piece of equipment. And
But you broke it.
well, I didn't break it. Okay.
That's what you get for letting a woman use your shit, man.
Hey, but here's the explanation behind that. No, I was in one room with a few people, and I had the true false option on, and there was another group in another room, and they were asking questions in the other room, and I was getting corresponding responses on it. And it was going like that for a good amount of time, and then all of a sudden my hand starts going numb, and then it kind of rolls up my arm, the hand that I'm holding the Ovulus in. The numbness goes up my arm and starts going into my body, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't feel my arm. I cannot feel my arm. And I can't even remember. Somebody took the Ovulus out of my hand, and eventually got feeling back in my arm. From that day on, that Ovulus won't hold a charge.
Will not hold a
it
charge.
will not charge at all.
Oh,
You
wow.
have to keep a power bank attached to it for it to work now.
It, like, my body, the electricity actually drained.
It absorbed it.
Yeah, it absorbed the battery.
Yeah.
And it won't work the same.
Yeah,
anymore.
that was one of the few times she got freaked out.
Oh yeah, I like was panicked at that point. I was like, oh my God, take this from me, get it
Well,
off me.
that's where a lot of the energy side of things is really interesting to me, because of the electromagnetic aspect to a lot of those things, and that's where Amanda's pretty sensitive to a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
And I know you give me shit all the time for Amanda's sense on that, but By the way, looking at this camera, my fingers are long as fuck. They're like weird claws. That's why it's popular with the ladies.
Yeah, is that why?
But so I got a question for you guys, and you don't have to answer directly, but what is your opinion on Zach Baggins?
Douche.
Absolutely a douche. Absolutely a douche.
I love Zach as an actor. I love him.
His portrayal.
I love when he plays.
douche.
I love when he plays the paranormal investigator in that show Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
Which my
but-
kids have gotten super into. Like sometimes I watch it and I'm like, what a bitch. Like what the fuck is even going on here? But yeah.
We actually have a little bit of insight on him and how he is behind the camera.
Mhm.
And it's quite humorous. He's an oddball.
Yeah.
He
is.
really is strange. in
Like
his
we have a
own
friend
right.
of ours that's been to his museum in Las Vegas, and he said it's legitimately
I would
like
love to go.
Dude, I would
haunted
go
as
in a
fuck.
heartbeat.
right.
Yeah, I would.
Right.
love to go.
But he'll acknowledge you, like, dude, he's such a fucking douchebag.
Yeah.
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 So, I mean, you're-
He's a
talking
prima
about-
donna.
But not that you can judge a book by his cover, but his cover is really fucking douchey. That's all
Yeah. Yeah. And see, our like true opinion, well, mine anyway, is, and Steve agrees with me on this one, and I'm sure Andrea does. He's a straight up douche.
Right.
But that team as a whole have produced some of the best data of shit going on in the field. It's ridiculous.
And that's the sad part, is that you've got somebody who is so douchey, and it's like, God, why? How can
Like
you
I need to
be the
write
one
this down.
Yes.
Zach Baggins.
But
is
you
a
have to have a
douche.
personality for that type of show, for the ratings or whatever. Like you guys were saying earlier, like there has to be some kind of mass appeal to whatever's going on, whether it's orchestrated or not. It's a very, very, very odd thing.
Yeah.
I think everybody tunes in mainly to watch Aaron because, Zach is always telling Aaron, go in that fucking basement by yourself for 4 fucking hours.
Talk to the demon.
Talk to the demons, And
Zach is pretty, though.
I'd tell him, Zach, get your fucking ass down there.
Yeah. You bench, 360. You go sit in there for a little bit.
He's pretty.
He is.
He needs his puppy after they stop shooting.
So I'm gonna go ahead and share that.
He's not Ryan. He's not Ryan Reynolds pretty, but he is pretty.
That's true.
So I'm gonna share this story that we were told by two guys that know Zach very, very well.
Brandon Elvis.
No, it wasn't Brandon.
I thought it was Brandon.
No.
Oh no, that's right.
No, it was
no name dropping.
Yeah, no names. But, they were on an episode of Ghost Adventures. They've been on a few episodes of Ghost Adventures, but on one particular episode of Ghost Adventures, when they went to take a break,
it was at Goldfield Hotel.
Yeah. Zach comes out and he's like, "Where's my puppy? Where's my puppy?"
Talking to his mom, asking "Where's my puppy? Where's my puppy?" And so she goes and gets his puppy, and he goes and sits in this car with his dog, little puppy, whatever the fuck it was, cuddled up with this dog during their break, and said that he was like the most spoiled brat ever. I mean, and when he does interviews, they have a crate that he has to stand on to make him appear taller and bigger than everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've gathered with watching a lot of his stuff, that he seems like he's, lack of a better word, very sensitive to a lot of activity. But outside of that, like the team he has is more of the people that have like legitimate like expertise in investigating. Like he's just kind of there for the face, and then for the little bit of the entertainment of value, like when he comes out and is like, I got overwhelmed and now I'm crying. Not that there's not something that actually happened, but it's more for that aspect of it.
And everything's a demon to him.
Yeah, everything's a demon to him.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones, actually, recently I watched the one where they're investigating the Lincoln County Hospital, and he got tangled up, because my kids have gotten super into paranormal shows, or at least my daughter has. And when he gets tangled up in the wires and they put the stupid debunk thing on the front of it, but he was like, "Oh my God, something just grabbed me. It's the worst."
Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much.
So I got a question for you guys before you have to go. Out of all the movies and TV shows that are, fiction, your Haunting of Hill House type stuff or whatever, which one is the most realistic to what you guys have experienced or whatever?
If any.
If any. If the answer is none of them, they're all bullshit. Like, I mean, obviously they're fiction, but I'm just saying, like, what's the most realistic to your experiences?
That's hard.
That is a tough one.
That's really hard because, I mean, honestly, I would say that anything that it portrays a documentary, they tend to have, I mean, aside from any kind of parody, they tend to have more of a likeness to what we do, because the ones like, oh my gosh, trying to go through these.
What are those ones we used to watch on the Paranormal Investigators on Netflix?
Paranormal Investigation.
Yeah, there's this. Is it French?
Yes.
Yeah, it's in French.
Yeah, it's in French.
Subtitled.
It's a subtitled movie on Netflix.
Well, Joey's out then because he's not going to read anything. Fucking dumbass.
And see that's me. I'm the same way. Too. But this drew me in from the very beginning. This is probably it's frightening.
He goes in, sets up cameras with a DVR, and it's very, very realistic, because there are times where nothing happens. So you're literally sitting there watching a movie of nothing happening for a good amount.
But you're glued to the screen.
But you're just waiting, because there's going to be that that moment of something is going to happen.
Yeah.
And sure enough, something happens.
Yeah. I mean, it totally keeps with the whole Paranormal Activity style movie,
Right.
but
I love documentaries.
but
Mockumentaries.
yeah, it's more mockumentary style. This one is.
Yeah.
But I would think, like, out of like movies that are on Netflix or whatever, that would be close to what we actually encounter. Honestly, I mean, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong.
Probably.
Okay, thanks.
More than likely.
Appreciate that, guy. Way to have my fucking back. But like the Conjuring movies, like the stuff that with that Ed and Lorraine Warren did. There's a whole lot of Hollywood in there. A whole lot of Hollywood.
But a whole lot of truth.
But there's a whole lot of truth to the way that you see Lorraine react in these movies.
Well, I was going to say, if you're listening and you haven't done any research or read about the Warrens, it's fucking fascinating. Like, it's crazy shit.
It really is.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to interrupt you with that. That's just like really stuck out.
No.
So fascinating.
No, the Warrens, we have a kind of a I don't want to say a love-hate relationship.
And it's not Lorraine. It's the
Ed.
way that Ed would try to make money off people.
Right.
Because Ed, that's what Ed did. He did a lot for the field. I'm not taking that from him at all. He did a lot for the field. But the way he would try to capitalize and make money off of it, that's not us. We
literally do not charge to investigate.
That was going to be one of my questions, actually.
Yeah. We do not charge. We never will charge. That's like November 14th. We're driving down to Atlanta to investigate a family's home, and they will pay us nothing for it. We don't ask anything for it.
Right.
We do this to help people, and like the bigger locations,
we pay.
Yeah, we pay to go to these locations.
That's a treat to ourselves.
Yeah. And
it's like our field trips.
Yeah, it's like our Christmas present for being good little paranormal investigators all year long.
So actually, in regards, we were talking about, I have one question, and this is something I've never, I guess, understood or always wondered about, I guess would be a better way to put it. But when you guys are out in the field, if you're on location somewhere that's not like in a house or something, like something where more out and about, or an abandoned building, if you have to take a shit, what the fuck do you do? Like, is it like in a bush?
2 pair of socks.
That's seriously, like, I was thinking about that. I was like, it has to be just out, and you just
that
got
was too quick of an answer to not be real.
Been there and done that.
Right, absolutely. That's what I was thinking. Like, I was like,
I literally just watch my diet the day of and the day before.
Yeah, she totally does.
I really do.
You can do that, but at some point, it's going to catch up with you. Like, it's just just how things are.
And
it's
nature. You do what you gotta do.
Okay.
But a lot of the places though that we go to, even like the abandoned hospitals and stuff, if they don't have working facilities inside, they usually have a portage on somewhere.
Okay.
The only exception would be that we've been to was Red Ash.
Yeah. Red Ash.
It's literally in the middle of nowhere.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
That sounds like something you get from having an extra pair of socks in the woods.
That's Red Ash.
Yeah, Red Ash. Yeah.
And we have learned something after all these years. Carry a roll of toilet paper in your trunk.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Because, I worked on construction sites for a long time, and it was like I always carried like some not one-ply garbage toilet paper in my bag.
Yeah. See,
and some extra garbage bags.
The John Wayne toilet tissue, rough and tough, don't take shit off nobody.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I know it's 3:30. You guys said you had to bounce, so we don't want to keep you on if you need to roll. I mean, this feels like a good stopping point. I mean, you're welcome to stay on. We're going to be up for a little bit, but if you need to go,
this way you can talk shit about us behind our back, and we appreciate that. Yeah.
No, dude, it has been a legitimate pleasure having you guys on. It's been so much fun.
We've had a blast.
Yeah, and if you don't care that I throw our podcast out,
I was going to ask. Please throw
anything you want to plug.
And if you guys will email me after and throw me links to, I have links to your podcast. But anything that you want to promote, we'll put it in our episode
notes
readout. Yeah,
it's good timing.
Yeah, she just finished her drink.
Just finished.
Nice.
Yeah. But so every Thursday or Friday night, you can, if you follow us on Facebook, it's just Paratalk Podcast with East Tennessee Ghost Seekers or East Tennessee Ghost Seekers, and it's TN. We don't spell out the whole word. It's East TN Ghost Seekers, and the same deal.
Some people really don't know how to spell Tennessee.
Well, no, because there's another team, but they're East Tennessee Ghost Hunters.
Oh,
Yeah, but yeah.
Details.
They suck
But,
way more, by the way. All the research.
Yeah,
I've
they
done.
do. Yeah.
So much more.
Yeah. But we record live every Thursday or Friday night, depending on the opening for football, on podbeanlive.com. You can install the Podbean app on your phones and follow us. When we go live, you get a notification. There's a chat menu in there. There's an option to call in straight from your phone. Just hit the call in button. You can call in, talk with us live.
And it's a great podcast. Like I said, I've listened to a few episodes.
Thank you.
And it's
Appreciate
so
it.
good.
Thank you. And if you have anything going on in your house that you can't explain, reach out and get in touch with us. One of us will get back with you. We'll get something set up. We'll come check it out. And like I said, free of charge. We never charge anything to come out and help you guys out. If there's anything that needs to be done beyond us, we will get you in touch with some people that can help you. And we also have a new documentary, The House Where Time Doesn't Matter. It's available on YouTube on our East TN Ghost Seekers YouTube page. It's based on the Octagon Mansion, and you'll understand the name when you watch it. It was insane.
And Halloween will be at Screamville Haunted Attraction.
And tonight.
Yeah.
And tonight.
Yeah.
Well, this won't be posted till
true.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah. So come out Halloween night to Screamville Haunted Attraction. It's in Coreyton, Tennessee.
and we will be in costume.
Yeah, we'll be in costume that night. So yeah.
Is Steven going like as a slutty nurse? Because I will come there for that shit.
Oh,
we can make it happen.
It's going to happen.
I went when I was stationed in Hawaii. I went to Hullabaloo, which is their big festival, as a sexy bunny. I bought a big girls, and it was like the garters, like the thigh highs, the whole nine. And I have never been molested by more old Japanese men than in my entire life.
So, well, you know what? Come to Screamville and see us Halloween night dressed like that. And we actually have an old Japanese member on our team, and we'll get him to molest you.
Oh my God.
yeah.
No, seriously, I got ass grabs. I had some dude pull by in a car and lick his window. It was so it was amazing. Yeah. All right. And you guys' website is easttnghostseekers.org.
Yes.
Encourage you to check them out. Like I said, man, I just reading, like, I'm so glad you guys came on. It's been so great. And like, I'm not joking where I'm going to shamelessly whore myself to you guys to come on an investigation with you guys. Like, that would be.
You're more than welcome.
More than welcome. We're
Come
actually
on.
right now at this very moment, we are working on getting an investigation together at the Mansfield Reformatory
Oh
up
shit.
in Ohio. We're going to take like 20 people and go up there and investigate the prison where Shawshank Redemption was filmed. So
awesome.
Nice.
Come on.
All right.
yeah.
Well,
So,
well, like I said, man,
I'll get in touch with you with details on that and see if
Please
you're
do.
interested.
and like I said, man, thank you guys for so much for taking the time. I know you're super busy right now. And you guys, we need to come back at some time because I have so many other things that were on my brain to ask you guys about, and we'd love to have a part 2 at some point in time.
Or you could
Anytime.
just call into their
Anytime.
show.
Oh yeah, I could call into
No,
your
just-
show,
just-
but then I don't get as
Yeah.
much attention as I would if you guys, are on our show. So
I understand because I'm the host of this show, so I understand where you're coming from.
You're the what?
Right.
The attention whore?
I'm
Yes.
the attention whore.
Okay.
oh yeah,
I'm the one
attention
who
whore,
never shuts
like
the
the
fuck up and talks all the
narcissism that just bleeds out over the airwaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We'll have that. It's all about me battle going on. So
Absolutely.
be great.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you
for
so much.
having
Yes.
us.
And we'll be right back. I think you are. Is it counting time? Then you are recording. I think you are.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, buddy.
All right. So how did you feel?
I was about to ask you the same thing.
You're the one that hunted them out, pun intended.
Like ghosts.
Yeah, and reached out, got them to come on, and I mean, it was enjoyable. I did. So,
Yeah.
how did you feel about it?
I thought it was a good episode. You
Happy you're gonna do an investigation with them?
Dude, I'm so excited. I don't know how I feel about going with 20 other people though. I just want to tag along with them.
Yeah, well,
In the private one, but you know,
look,
beggars can't be choosers.
you should get them to come to your house and do something.
My house isn't haunted.
You don't know that.
Yes, I do.
Maybe you just can't feel
No,
it.
the people that call them are people that are having some issues with some shit.
Sure.
Want them to excavate.
Why don't you just call them and say, I want to know?
Because there's nothing there. I would know if there's some shit there.
Okay.
I would.
All right.
There'd be some experience
Maybe you
there.
just
There's
hadn't been there
nothing.
long enough.
Maybe. And if shit comes up in my house, I'll
Maybe
call
they're
them.
lazy ghosts. We'll get to them at some point.
Yeah,
Let's get through
maybe.
the holiday season first.
Maybe. But there's been nothing. So I have no reason to.
Sure.
If I knew of some haunted shit, that I would absolutely call them.
What about give them go to your parents' house?
My parents' house isn't haunted.
I thought is that not the house where your dad said he walked in and saw some old men sitting on that
That
piano
was
bench?
specifically attached to that pew, which would be interesting, but it wasn't like there's paranormal phenomenon happening in that house.
Okay.
So, but now if I could
Did he
back
get rid of
into
that
my,
pew?
I don't know. If I could get rid of or get back to my grandmother's old place, the one
Yeah.
that they were renting I would definitely have them there. That shit would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But I meant to ask them what their process was, like with the whole thing, like when they set up and kind of start to finish and how it usually goes down.
Rub each other down with oil.
Yeah,
Throw-
absolutely, absolutely.
Just
light them candles.
play some Yanni.
Yeah, it's the pre-investigation circle jerk that has to happen. A little
Right.
game of supernatural soggy
Right.
biscuit.
See, you call it soggy biscuit. I call it ookie cookie.
Okay. Well, it just depends on
Sure.
whether you're using a cookie or whatever. What I've also heard
Sure.
it called soggy toast.
Oh, I've never heard that one before.
Yeah, that's when you all come on the. If it was
So-
cinnamon toast, that might be a little sweet and salty altogether.
Yeah. This cinnamon toast crunch is savory.
But it goes down so smooth. Anyway, no,
now with protein.
I thoroughly enjoyed having them on.
Yeah, that was a very enjoyable
Yeah.
conversation.
Was a very enjoyable joke.
Very enjoyable.
Yeah, that's good. But so did it change any of your perspective on
No.
things? Make you more? I didn't figure it would.
No.
But I mean, the whole purpose that the conversation wasn't to try to
Sure.
convince you of
No,
anything.
yeah.
But
I didn't feel like it
would you
was.
go on an investigation with them?
Probably not. Probably
Why?
not. I just, again, healthy respect for it. Don't want a chance bringing anything back.
Oh my God, I would sit down on the Ouija board with them. That would be fucking awesome.
I mean, you guys are more than welcome to do that.
I'm gonna do
Just-
it.
It's
then
one of those little things.
I'm gonna
that-
do it, then immediately come over here and hope some shit comes back with me and
gotcha.
haunts your fucking ass.
I'll do a saltwater covenant before you get here.
Did you ever do you remember? I don't know if the family or any of the people you grew up around ever did the salt covenants around the house? Or
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
salt around?
about. They used to.
I
do
thought you
the
said salt water.
Salt water. That's what they would do. The salt and the holy water and salt.
Oh, okay, but not
Yeah.
mixed together.
Yeah, sometimes.
See, I always did the thing where they went around like the property
Mm-hmm.
with the salt, which to me has always been funny because it's very much an occult, like supernatural practice more than the Christian one.
Oh, not according to the Pentecostal church.
Oh my God, I know, right?
But yes, I remember that.
I bind you in the name of
That's-
Jesus.
Yeah,
What
there's
are you
a lot of-
binding them with? Just like a name, or is it wrapping around them like the letters? Like
It's interesting because they want to break every chain, but then they also want to bind things.
right
So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
in a bind.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway,
Well, maybe it's like the old Asian binding where it's like you tie the feet up. Oh,
get some of them demons with them stubby feet.
Yeah.
But so do we have anything on next week? What's going on next week?
I don't know.
Any
You-
guesses?
Let's see. I don't think so. No, because it's Halloween.
Oh yeah, so it's just us.
Just us. I
So-
thought we might go out in the front yard with the equipment.
Let's bring a Ouija board. Let's
Interview
do a
people.
Ouija board during the
No.
episode. Why?
No. I'm not interested in that.
No,
at
it's
all.
not that you're not interested. You're terrified of it.
No, I'm not terrified of
Yeah.
it at all. It's a
You're
healthy
scared.
respect.
You're scared of it. If you
Oh my God.
weren't scared of it, then
Okay.
you'd be open to doing it.
All right. That's not absolutely not how that kind of stuff works. It's not
No.
how that's not
No,
how
there's a part. No, there's a part of you that worries if you're a little scared that some shit might come back. Or open to concern. No, it's scared.
No, it's not scared at all. Because if it were scared, there's a lot of more shit that I would be doing and participating in. If I were scared, I'd be doing a lot more shit to make sure that anything like that doesn't happen around me.
No. I'm not saying scared about that supernatural. I'm saying scared of that one act of using a Ouija board might open some shit up.
I just think I think you're using the word scared.
Whereas you could just bind it with the name of Jesus and it wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah, or you could also go, well, God also will let you participate in what you want because free will and all, and you have to suffer the consequences.
Have you ever thought about that concept of free will and how much bullshit it is? Like, it's very much a pick and choose.
I've posed that question to many people, and the best/worst answer I ever got is there's just some things you're not supposed to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a good answer.
Because it's like, it's either God knows everything that's already going to happen, and he's all-knowing, and everything's there, which completely negates free will.
Yeah.
Or I've heard it put that God knows all the possibilities of what you can do.
Yeah.
And you have the choice in those.
I posed the same thing sitting in Sunday school. I said, what if he knows all the choices you'll have? He knows where each choice will lead and what choices you'll have off of each of those. But he just doesn't know which choice you're going to make
which
each
negates omnipotence.
All right, so that's what someone said to me. It's like they didn't say it negates omnipotence. They wouldn't use words that big.
But it does.
Sure, but I was thinking about this, I don't know, a week or two ago. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, well, how would I have the conversation with somebody if they're saying no, because then that means God doesn't know everything. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, but God, so according to what we're taught, if you ask forgiveness, he throws it away, never to remember it. Uh-huh. What if he has chosen to not know what you're going to do, so he can't?
Okay.
Because he's God, and that's what God can do.
Right.
I'm taking the same vein that
for
they
sure.
take with.
But then that goes back essentially to the same thing. Well, can God create a rock that even he himself can't lift?
I don't think he can create a rock that he can't lift. I think he could create a rock that he chooses to not be able to lift. You know? No, it's just one of those things. Like, all right, fine. If you're going to argue, I know how you're going to argue. Right. So what if I say to you, right, fine, but he's chosen, just like the forgiveness thing. He doesn't remember your sins once you ask forgiveness because he has set that rule for himself.
Okay.
What if he has set that rule for himself?
But God breaks his rules all the time. But in
the
Bible,
does he actually break his rules, or does he break the rules that people say he's made?
No, if you want to take the Bible as a fucking verbatim truth on whatever, then there are all kinds of instances where God is either a hypocrite, or he has reasons he's not talking about, whereas this makes it okay and this doesn't. Yeah, it's one of the two. Yeah, so. Like the difference between the Old Testament God and the New Testament God, who's supposedly the same yesterday, today, and forever. It's a whole fucking different animal. And I've heard people that married, well, after the New Covenant, then that changed. It's like, well, but whatever.
Whatever. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my thought on the free will.
Yeah. Okay.
And what if he can, but he chose to set himself a rule?
Right.
But then again, rules are meant to be made to be broken.
Right. It's an arbitrary rule in that instance.
Sure.
It's like, well, I'm going to let them pick. Because in that case, then that becomes full-on dickery, right? Because it's like, well, I'm going to let them choose. But they might go to hell. But I love them more than anything, and I don't want them to go to hell. But I'm going to let them choose to go to hell or not. Like, what the fuck kind of bullshit is that? I'm just saying. Practically speaking,
true love.
That's true love. Yes. True love is eternal damnation forever.
You've made your bed, now you will sleep. That's true love, allowing people to fail.
Yeah, I guess so. But here's the thing: I'll let my kids fail all fucking day long because they'll learn from it. But when it comes down to it, if I had to choose to save their life or die because of one of their decisions, I would do my best to keep them from dying.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
No, I'm just messing with you. Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Yeah. So if you want to draw that line, is what I'm saying, then there's a whole lot of bullshit in there, based on whatever.
This may just be,
we just can never know.
His ways are not your ways.
Right. His ways are higher than our ways.
And not your thoughts. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's like ghosts.
It's an interesting conversation to have with people who are like, so you just don't believe? And we're like, no, I absolutely believe in God. Mm-hmm. I just don't believe in most of the bullshit that I was taught growing up. Right. It's just man-made shit to get people scared.
Except for Ouija boards and demons.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting, I was thinking while they were talking about that there was not a lot of discussion of Ouija boards. It was just, don't mess with Ouija boards. Mm-hmm. They're associated with the occult or whatever. And that was really the end of it. There was I never really had conversation with anyone where they were like, this is the gateway to the spirit world or whatever. It's just like, don't do that. And then I knew someone that some friend, they had messed with one or whatever, and the friend was like just fucked up for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's a very
so many
interesting
things could happen that way.
But we also are really about interrupting and changing subjects because but I would like to, I'll legitimately have them on at some point and go more in depth into the actual like theology and like what they believe and standing at and outside of more of just the investigation shit, but like, okay, what's your opinion on this shit? I mean, they have somebody that's they said a witch on their thing, and so like if they study,
and I really wanted to get into that. Like, what you say, witch? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Right.
So
see, I don't even think about it now because of with Amanda and stuff. Like I kind of knew what they meant, but I'll let them if we get them back on, we'll have them. Would you like to have them back on?
I'll have them back on.
Or you like fuck those guys? They were
no.
fun.
I'll have them back on.
Did you hear that, guys? East Tennessee goes. Joey says, "Fuck you." That's what he just said.
What? Oh. Yeah. I got you. I see what you're talking to them now.
Oh, I'm talking to them directly.
Yeah, no, I thought that you were talking to me saying one of them said that, but then I got you. No, I would have them back on sometime for sure.
Yep. And then in a few weeks, we're going to be on The Boys. Was it The Boys?
Two Brothers.
The Two Brothers. Well, I can't remember. The Two Brothers podcast.
Yep.
We're going to be a guest on that. It's live.
It's with Trevor, who was on last week, and then his partner,
is it backwards?
His name's Trey.
I thought it was Troy.
Troy Smith. Why just the Trevor and the Troy's throwing me off.
Yeah,
it's
a lot of trust names.
Yeah. Trevor Jackson.
We're going to be talking
Smith.
about politics.
Yeah, it'll be right after the election.
And some and talking a little bit of racism in the States or in our culture. I think or the racial climate. I think is how it was put. So it'll be an interesting episode. We'll be sure to put a link of that in our shit.
Yeah, it'll be live. They do everything live.
I just said that.
Yeah, I'm reiterating.
Oh. Okay.
This is what good partners do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a good partner.
I absolutely know that. I don't need a Ouija board to tell me that.
But we are going to link, if you're interested in any of the Ghost Seekers stuff, we're going to link to in the description of the podcast.
The show notes, yep.
Show notes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see. We're hoping to do live on election night.
No. I've decided, we should have done during the debate. The election night's going to go on so fucking long.
Yeah, that was the agreement to start with. It's going to be a long time. I'm going to take off work the next day.
Are we going to go live the entire fucking time?
I'm sure we'll break every once. It's not.
It'll be like 4 a.m.
Whatever.
It will be.
All right, fine. Fuck you.
Especially,
you don't do shit like that,
especially, no, I'll do it. But especially when it starts getting contentious.
You're the most wishy-washy,
I am not wishy-washy.
You said, no, I'm not doing it. And now you've just said less than a minute later, I'll do it.
Maybe. I do that because I know it drives you fucking crazy.
No, I expect it now.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
whatever.
I
don't care.
Yeah, says the person that consistently wants to mimic Mystery Science Theater 3000 on this podcast. I take a stand there, sir.
Go for it.
I already have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me one bit. I'm absolutely willing to steal what works.
So it'll be a surprise to everybody if we do this or not.
What are we gonna?
What platforms are we gonna go live on? Like, how are we gonna do that? We'll have to work that offline.
AMC movie theaters.
What?
Yeah, we're gonna be live in theater. They have to go to the theater to see us. Yeah, we're gonna get somebody to hack into the theater. So
that's stupid.
Yeah, I don't care.
All right. Well, you gonna call it?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, I enjoyed the episode. They're great to talk to.
I wish I could say the same for our interactions.
Yeah, I know. I'm about tired of you. I'm just about tired.
It's been a year and a half and you're done.
It hasn't even been a year and a half.
Oh, yeah, you're in like 3 months.
Has it? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
We're in episode 64.
Probably is, yeah.
Which is, what, 14 weeks?
It's exactly 12 weeks past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah.
You're over it?
Yeah, I'm over it. It's a hell of an episode to quit on.
All right, dude.
Oh, God. Yeah.
All right.
Bye. Give us a thumbs up on Facebook at B3F Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at B3F Podcast and on Instagram at B3F_podcast. Send us your questions or comments to bfff.podcast@gmail.com. Rate us and review us wherever you listen to the show. And as always, thanks for listening.